Welcome back. Many young South Africans have willing hands and willing hearts, but jobs are hard to come by. According to the World Bank, South Africa has the highest unemployment rate in the world, outstripping Gaza and the West Bank and Kosovo. And despite a marginal decline recently, the unemployment rate still hovers at around 33%. Well, with the National Minimum Wage Commission calling for submissions for the increases to the minimum wage for next year, Youth Development Agency Afrika Tikkun Services is warning that increasingly the wage increases could negatively impact on jobs. The current national minimum wage for South Africa increased from just above 23 Rand per hour last year to 25 Rand 42 cents per hour this year. We're now joined by Onyi Nwaneri, who is the CEO of that agency, Afrika Tikkun Services. Thank you for joining us. What are your concerns?
Thank you for having me. As an organization, Afrika Tikkun Services' focus is to enable young people become economically empowered. The problem we want to solve is youth unemployment. If you look at the quarter labor force survey that came out, it already pitches unemployment for young people very high. For young people between the age of 18 to 25 years, that unemployment rate is over 60%, approximately 61%. For young people all the way to 35, that is sitting around 40%. We have close to 3.5 million young people who are not in education, employment, or training. Therefore, when we look at the national minimum wage, we need to look at it against the lens of broad-based Black economic empowerment, broadening that employment statistics and ensuring that employers have the ability to continue to create employment.
Yeah, it's one of the saddest statistics, youth unemployment. Some government officials would say, look, we're not going to do away with the national minimum wage because then you can have people earning so little that they're really working just to put some food in their mouth. They're not achieving anything. It's not dignified. We talk about dignified work. So I guess it's about finding a balance.
Absolutely. We're not saying that we shouldn't look at national minimum wage. We're trying to say that right now the country is struggling. The sector that creates the most jobs or has the potential to create the most jobs has taken a beating this year. They have taken a beating from high inflation. They have taken a beating from a low economic growth. They have taken a beating from blackout. If you look at since 2021, we have lost a lot of small, medium enterprises. They are barely surviving, and yet they are the sector that we are speaking about that is going to create the most jobs, especially for young people. So we're speaking about a balancing act, that as much as we want for people to have a living wage, but at the same time, millions of people don't even have any wage at all. So I think that our argument as Afrika Tikkun Services is that we should looking at encouraging productive work so that those who need the jobs the most can be supported by those who can create it. And then look at how do we ensure that the people who are in those jobs become as productive as they can.
Yeah. So what would you want? That we leave the minimum wage as is? We don't have an increase? Or are you actually looking for a drop? And when it comes to that, I mean, some people have argued, why not make an exception for young people specifically? Because maybe they don't have families, they just need to get a foot in the door, so they can maybe take that hit of a lower wage to start off with. Is that something you would endorse?
No, absolutely. I think particularly for this year, 2023, what our suggestion is to look at a balancing act and to promote productivity, because you have productive employees, all things being equal, create wealth for companies. And when companies have wealth, they will create more jobs. Young people, we know because we're part of another initiative called the National Youth Service. Young people in that are earning, and in rural areas, those young people are earning 1,684, albeit on a minimum wage basis, but that is a lot of money. They are going from earning zero to 1,684 or between 1,400 to 1,600. That's a lot of money for someone who has never earned any money before. And that could become a seed in their hands to to start small businesses themselves, become entrepreneurs, solve societal problems, put some food on their table and have a dignified life. We agree that the national minimum wage and the living wage should be considered. But for this year in particular, perhaps there should be a different solution for young people.
All right. Great chatting to you. Thank you very much. The CEO of Afrika Tikkun Services, Onyi Nwaneri.